Kicking off the year with the early muzzleloader season here in Iowa.
Are you kidding me?
Cow. Kicking off the year with the early muzzleloader season here in Iowa. This will be the third year that I have hunted this season. And in the past 2 seasons, I ate my buck tag. So this year, I made sure to create multiple setups on various food sources in hopes of finally punching the ticket on a mature buck. So for the first evening hunt, I'm going to go set up on this field where the farmer planted turnips and radishes as a cover crop this year. The only downside to this setup is that there's been quite a bit of pressure from other hunters during the bow season and the youth season on the same field. But given how good of a food source it is, I think it definitely has the potential to have some good action.
Nice 8-point on this farm just stepped out. He's at about 220 yards right now, which is out of range. We got a lot of time left. I'm hoping that he'll close the distance. He's at about 200 yards right now. I'm gonna take a shot at him when he comes to this next opening. What? He just laid down. Seriously, 5 yards from the next opening. I'll be damned. Alright, we're back at it. Today's October 16th, second day of the early muzzleloader season here in Iowa. I'm starting a new job next Monday, so I've conveniently timed this where I actually have a week off between one job and the other, and it's right here during the early muzzleloader season. So I've got what is now 8 days left done. We're on a great setup here. Been waiting for the right wind, and tonight we have that right wind. It's a northwest wind, and I'm on here in a box blind that's on wheels. There's at least 3 management bucks in this area that I would like to get an opportunity at one of them in hopes of harvesting it and creating a void for some of the other young deer that were here during the summer and haven't been too frequent since. talked to the farmer and he let us mow about an acre of corn here, so we're hoping that this will entice one of those mature bucks to get on his feet, come in and let me take a crack at him. Some of the other neighbors are combining their corn, which might pull some of the deer that were intending on coming here away. You know, the temps have been pretty good. They are supposed to drop tomorrow and the day after, but then they go back up, and it's primarily a northwest wind, but it's actually perfect for this setup. I came in through the corn. You know, this is a very privileged opportunity. I hope we can get it done on day one, but this is hunting, and it is never a guarantee, so I'm excited to see how this plays out. Stay tuned. Back at it here on October 17th. Plans changed today because I checked cameras and looks like last week a new buck showed up. I don't have many pics of him, but he looks like he has a big frame. And he's been on camera 3 out of the last 4 days. The handful of pics that I have of him are all nocturnal, but he seems to be moving closer and closer to shooting light. And with this front moving in tonight, I think it would be the right time to catch him on his feet in daylight. I did it hanging on to capitalize on this northwest wind, but the bad news is that I'm just now getting settled in, just about an hour after I had planned, because I forgot my camera arm. So I'm going to have to cut this intro short, but let's see what happens. Come on. I really hope he's down. That's the buck I really wanted to get. Oh my gosh. I didn't think it was gonna happen tonight of all nights. This is a new farm. We've put a lot of work in on this farm, and actually what I'm hunting over right now is a 3-acre food plot that actually is about a acres brassicas, and the other 2 acres is clover and oats. There was 2 bucks that were on this field that I would totally want to shoot. One started showing up about a week ago. The other one hasn't shown up in like 2 weeks, and I shot the one that just started showing up about a week ago. And I actually just had a doe come up here behind me, downwind of me, up in there. The little one came right under my stand. I couldn't get the video on her. But I also had this little 4-point out in front of me. And he kept, the 4-point would look at these does, but then you could tell he was turning his attention to something else. I couldn't see what it was, and then finally, I see this body step out, and I pulled up the binos, and I saw that it was that Big 10. And once I confirmed it was him, got the scope on him, and we let it rip. I can't believe that. I didn't think it was gonna happen tonight. The wind was so high. I was like, these deer weapons seem so edgy out in the field, but I am completely wrong. And man, am I glad I am, because I think I just smoked an absolute stud. Yes. I went out and did an initial look for blood. Didn't see any. I'm also colorblind and not very good at looking for it, and all I had was my headlamp. I'm really confident that I hit that deer, but you know, sometimes things are just not what they seem. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back. I'm gonna see if there's anything from the footage that I can gather, and then I'm gonna call a couple buddies. We'll see if we can put together a little crew tonight and maybe find this deer. Here it is, Wednesday, October 19th. It's about 8:30 in the morning. About 38 hours since I shot that buck 2 nights ago. To recap where we're at with that, 2 nights ago I shot that buck broadside, 65 yards, or at least I thought I shot him. Was very confident with the shot. Backed out, went and got a buddy. We couldn't find any blood within the first 75 yards. I was very discouraged by that. I thought for sure that I had hit that deer. So the next morning, which would have been yesterday morning, you know, it's a Tuesday and everybody else has got work. So I went out to see if I could find anything. I can't see blood that well, especially once it dries up like that. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to locate a body. And so I reached out to a blood tracking group on Facebook last night and was able to get a hold of a tracker who's going to come down today at 9 o'clock. He said he was going to be able to, you know, based on everything I told him, and you know, as I'm learning more about this entire scenario itself, it seems that this would be able to confirm or deny whether or not this was a clean miss. I'm excited to see how this plays out. So this being the first time I've ever used a blood tracking dog, I didn't realize that these dogs don't track blood, but they actually track a pheromone scent that is left by an injured deer through their hooves. Jeff and Sam with Twisted Roost Tracking came out that morning and they brought their dog Kai, who was immediately on to a scent from the point of impact, which told us that the deer was injured. Kai followed the scent for about a mile before we called it quits. And the reason we called the search off is because about half a mile into the track, the deer had bedded down and then it started to get up and do circles, basically walking over to a scrape. It walked back and showed little signs of stress. Jeff predicted that this buck was likely just skimmed. And while this wasn't finding the deer itself, it was pretty reassuring to hear that this deer had a good chance at making it. And this prediction would explain why that deer acted the way it did after the shot, and also why there was no blood on the trail. So I guess on to the next hunt.
All right, back at it here on October 19th. It's about 4:45 right now, and we're out for the evening sit. This evening I'm set up on the same cornfield we set up on 3 days ago. What we're hoping is we'll get one of the management bucks in the area to step out of here before last light. This morning I was able to follow up with Jeff and Samuel from Twisted Roost Tracking. The good news is that the activity and the track of the deer seem to be pretty promising, that it has a good chance at surviving. I really think what happened was I hit him behind the shoulder and up. That the bird's eye view is pretty disappointing, but at this point, I'm excited that I know that there's a good chance that deer will survive. You know, 2 nights ago was the first time I had taken a shot at a buck in the 3 years that I've been hunting early muzzleloader. I had my opportunity, and I really can't blame anybody but myself for messing that up. I should have steadied in on a little bit lower on that deer, taking my time a little bit more. This is the same farm where I hit that buck 2 nights ago. So there has been a little bit of pressure on this farm, you know, as far as looking for the deer. Not too intrusive on this side of the farm, but, you know, every little thing can impact this hunt in some way that I really don't know. Anything else at this point in the season is bonus. I'm just kind of going out and trying to learn a couple more things, and if I do get an opportunity, that's great. But at this point, you know, I had my opportunity. I had to make the most of it. And I'm just going to have to, you know, accept that and you know, hopefully get better. So let's see what happens. right here has unreal potential. It's very possible that he is 1.5, but he is a freaky looking deer, just the type of deer that, you could fast forward to when he's 5 or 6. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. I can't believe that. The most improbable thing of all things. Yes. That's the same deer I shot at 2 nights ago. Oh, this is the last day that the weather was actually decent for deer hunting. I was thinking to myself, what are the chances that that would happen? And I was like, it's slim to none, and it actually did happen. Holy cow. What a story. Let's get after it. These little ones are out here feeding still yet.
Well, there's my ride. Just spooked all the deer off the field. Let's go check this deer out. Well, Emmy just drove up to the field here. The reason I had her come pull up is because there was a lot of deer that came back out here, and I kind of didn't want them to. I didn't want to educate them as far as me getting out of that blind and associating any danger with that. So she drove up, pushed them off the field, and we are looking at this buck right now, and it is a stud. This is a holy cow. What a story. Look at this freaking stud of a buck. Holy cow. That is a beautiful, beautiful buck right there. And right here's his bullet hole, and I just barely skimmed him. You can see it right here. That was 48 hours ago, 65-yard broadside shot. I don't know what I did, but I messed it up. There was nothing on my mind more than this deer for that 48 hours. Had Jeff and Sam come out with the dog today, and Jeff was able to say with confidence that, I think that deer is not fatally wounded. I think he'll be fine as long as he doesn't get infected. Based on the track, even though we didn't have any blood, he was able to tell that by the way that dog ran, which is just unbelievable, because that's exactly what happened. That deer came over here, it was perfectly fine. We come out tonight, I get in that blind deer on the south side, hoping to catch up with one of the management bucks over here, and then here he comes right around this corner right here. And I couldn't believe it. The emotions that you have, it's indescribable to be put through that roller coaster of, being at the ultimate down. I had everything I wanted. I was in the right spot. Beautiful buck, 65 yards broadside with a muzzleloader, and I messed it up. It's not very often that you get a second chance at a deer, let alone 2 days after. So, I was down at the bottom of this roller coaster, and boy, did it just skyrocket up. And man, is this one story? This is a story for the ages. Very, very fortunate hunter right here. Let's get this sucker loaded up. and let's go have some fun. All right, guys, that's going to conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the bell so you can be notified when we drop more videos. Thanks again for watching, and until next time.